Prima Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report. Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries Minister Tina Joemat-Pettersson says volatile food prices in South Africa necessitate local food production and that commercial farmers as well as small subsistence farmers should join in. Idele Esterhuizen has the story.
The minister said at the launch of South African retailer Massmart's pilot Ezemvelo Direct Farm program in Limpopo that public-private partnerships would be central to developing smallholder farmers, and that her department had entered into a memorandum of agreement with Massmart for this purpose.
The private sector is assisting us with the market, as well as ensuring that there's quality and a regular quantity. The volumes are there, and government in turn assists with providing seeds, fertilizers, mechanization, tractors where it is necessary. Government will never be able to do it on its own. We need the commercial farmers and we need the private sector.
Joemat-Pettersson urged other retailers to also adopt a direct farm approach, wherein they would source fresh produce directly from smallholder farmers to increase profit margins while lowering the sale price of products.
Government itself will assist these smallholder farmers through a preferential procurement system where the government buys directly from the smallholder farmers for schools, school feeding schemes, hospitals, clinics, police. So there's a wide range of opportunities for smallholders to produce for government, and we'll be able to work with retailers like Massmart to ensure that we get the logistics right.
The minister warned that if action was not taken, the volatility of food prices would intensify to such an extent that the poorest in the country would face the brunt of unemployment, inequality and poverty.
The price of food in our country is extremely high, and it is still going to get higher. So with food price volatility and high food prices, there is no way in which we're going to get by without assisting smallholder farmers to produce food.
Sipaku Cement is making use of Chinese contractor Sonoma International Engineering for the construction of its Angenang cement plant near Lichtenburg in the northwest. Leandi Colver visited the site to find out more.
Sipaku started construction on the 2.3 billion rand, 2.5 million ton a year Angenang cement production facility late last year, with first production scheduled for September 2013, after the commissioning of the plant's clinker in August 2013. Sipaku Cement CEO Pieter Fourie explains why a Chinese contractor was chosen for the project.
Initially, we did go out to tender with South African contractors. I think what we got to realize is there's no South African contractor that can take a turnkey risk on a plant like this. We went to European suppliers, we went to South African suppliers, and the bottom line is the fixed price that we got from the Chinese saved us 25% on the total cost of development. Now, just in terms of payback and in terms of the cost of going into the market, 25% on capital cost is massive. Having said that, we have built into the contract with the Chinese skills transfer using local labor, one local laborer on site for every 3 used, and I must reiterate that the Chinese laborers will only be here during the construction of the plant. So for 30 years we're going to have permanent jobs done by South Africans, only South Africans, and the cost of having Chinese here for 2 years we weighed up against the financial cost and also the cost of creating this opportunity. But what I'd also like to just point out is we started out with a program of skills transfer, but what we're finding is some of the cultural transfer, even on myself, is very good. If you look at the Chinese work ethic, if you look at some of the quality items that they have, we always thought think Chinese is bad quality. It's not. If you look at some of the construction works in China, and it's awesome. If you look at their productivity, we can only learn from them, and some very basics here, from wheelbarrows to the way they fix steel. We're learning from them, and I believe it's also the cultural improvement of saying you got to work for a job.
Chinese building style differs from South African style in a number of ways, and challenges had to be overcome to make the partnership effective. Fourie elaborates.
If you look at the building style, the basics are the same. Concrete is the same, the steel that goes into the concrete is the same. Bricks are slightly different, but if you look at the application, it's a lot more practical, it's a lot more efficient. Steel fixing, for instance, they got little tools that they use that swings and rapidly ties the steel. Our construction companies use pliers. It's a very slow it's probably 5 times slower than the Chinese little tool, and it's not a fancy thing. If you look at the wheelbarrows, people do not carry weight. It's very well balanced. It's old style things, but they work, so they're not getting new things in just to get new things in. They do a lot of repetitive work. They train people well, but people tend to be very focused on the jobs that they're doing. Language was obviously the biggest one. We do have translators. They supplied translators. We've also appointed translators on our side. And we do have a language barrier that needs to be overcome. But we've gone a long way, and we're very happy with the progress there. We also had some challenges on safety management. Our culture on safety management is very different to theirs, and we were aware of it right from the start. They were aware of it because of some other bad experiences they've had previously. They had a commitment to it, and we worked together, and we're very happy that on this site we got over 1 million lost time injury-free hours worked that we're very, very proud of, given that challenge that we had before.
Other news making headlines this week: a hybrid funding approach is needed for infrastructure projects, and Imperial Logistics business grows despite difficult trading conditions. Many infrastructure projects in South Africa have a social and commercial component and therefore require a hybrid financing approach, Deputy Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene said at a recent banking summit in Johannesburg.
Infrastructure development is a crucial part of raising South Africa's potential growth rate. A 1 percentage point increase in infrastructure investment will, by some estimates, raise long-run GDP by about 1.3%. and employment by about 0.7%. Conversely, inadequate investment in infrastructure creates bottlenecks and slows development. The African Development Bank estimates that a shortage of roads, housing, water, sanitation, and electricity reduces sub-Saharan Africa's output by about 40%.
Good acquisitions and contract gains have offset the impact of stagnant manufacturing numbers and price competitiveness in Imperial Holdings' regional logistics business.
We have had good acquisitions in the Southern African logistics business, and we have had great contract gains. So much so that some of the subdivisions in this logistics business, like the tankers business, the general transport and warehousing business, actually performed very well, but it is due to good contract gains, whilst the markets themselves are difficult.
That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insight into South Africa's real economy.